Hey there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Luthorville. Well, this episode is all about actually moving into my tiny house. Now, I only have a couple more episodes to go, as I'm sure you can tell if you've been following along. Getting the house, moving into it, and then getting it out onto my land is basically it. That's going to pretty much wrap up the whole process. And then after that, who knows what's next? A good friend of mine, Mike Bostwick, actually asked me that. He said, what are you going to do? Are you still going to do your Luthorville thing and do your YouTube channel? Like once you have it all together? I mean, if the whole point of Luthorville was to show the process of getting the land to getting the tiny house, what are you going to do once you have the tiny house? It's a good question. It's a legitimate question. And the answer is, I have no idea. I am intending to continue and to come up with all kinds of other episodes to show you little things about, changing stuff with the house, because that's pretty inevitable, and things that I want to do, observations on this and that. So the channel will continue. But this episode, as I said, is going to be all about actually moving into the tiny house. For those of you who watched my previous video, you know that one of my big dilemmas was the logistics of figuring out how to do all of this. And it actually turned out to be really simple. So the night that I got home in Los Angeles, my apartment was right about here, and I simply parked my tiny house about 2 blocks away, right around here. Then the next morning, I drove the tiny house up to Acton, California, and put it in storage at Soledad Canyon RV Park. And it stayed there for about a month or so while I continued to pack up my apartment. Then, around February 1st, I simply reversed the process. I went back up to Acton, picked it up, drove it down, parked it 2 blocks away from my apartment. Then the movers came, and we put everything into the tiny house, and I drove it back up to the RV park so that I could start the long and arduous process of unpacking. This is why I was not letting people see the inside of my tiny house. This is why I was not shooting video. As you can tell, I couldn't find my still camera anywhere in this mess. I couldn't find a video camera. This photograph was actually taken with my smartphone camera. And I just did a couple of updates, kind of shot them from the same spot so you could see the progress. But you can tell from this beginning, it was a complete disaster. And I had way more stuff than I thought I did. I thought that I had downsized pretty well, and apparently not. So it took a while. It took a while before I could actually get out a camera and start to document anything. One of the first things that I finished was the bathroom. For obvious reasons. The bathroom is probably the most important. I had to clear this out. I had a bunch of boxes and things in here, but I need to be able to get to the toilet. I need to be able to get to a shower, because the kitchen, okay, you would think that was really important too. Well, the kitchen is second most important because I can always go out to dinner, right? But using the bathroom is something that you need to do, you know how often you need to do it. So I had to get the bathroom prepared. And by the way, this vent right here, this is the exit vent for the steam and all that sort of stuff, but there's no way to close it from the outside, so I covered it up with plastic because it would get really, really cold in the bathroom. And now, here is the embarrassing Sanford & Son looking part of the apartment, or the tiny house. Why do I call it an apartment? Underneath this sleeping bag, I'm kind of using that as a, what do you call it? My mind is completely blanking right now. I am using the sleeping bag as insulation, that's the word, to insulate the freezer. There's a angle freezer underneath here. Here's a shelf that I put up. I got some kitchen stuff on and tools that I have not moved yet. Here is the kitchen sink, and I put the water distiller in the sink just temporarily. Over here, you really can't tell, But we've got, well, again, here's the front door, right? And so then we got some coat hooks and coats hanging up. And then right here we've got a bunch of bookcases, but they're all covered in stuff. So yeah, that's what's going to basically be there. You know, these boxes right here will go away, and then the bookcase is there, and then there's also bookcases that are all here along the window. So as we come in here, there's another angle right there. That is the refrigerator. And there's another shelf that we put up. We got a blender and a induction cooktop. And then up here on this shelf, we have the little toaster oven. Let's see. Let's come back here, and then once again, there's the bookshelves, there's the window, and there's a dresser that mostly has clothes in it. Then back on this side, we have the computer desk, and then right there is the mini split. And that's pretty much it for the kitchen slash living room area. And then we get to the more of the bedroom section. So there's a clothes hamper and more boxes and stuff. And there's a nightstand, and there's a bunch of junk on there. And then here we get to the bed. It's the queen size bed, and then we have a dresser and the television. Now that doesn't really work because the television was supposed to be dead center, but as you can see, that's not going to happen because the dresser is too tall, or the television's too tall. So you either need a smaller dresser or a smaller television, but it ain't going to work the way that it is. So there you have it. Eventually, that dresser right there, I had to get rid of that. And same with this one. If you pan over this way, that dresser that's on the left-hand side of the screen, I had to get rid of that one as well. These were very, very difficult decisions for me because that dresser, both of them, in fact, are dressers that I had since childhood. I mean, as long as I can remember. I think I was maybe 8 years old when I kind of inherited those. So they've also been a part of my family for a really long time. Those pieces of furniture must be at least 50, 60 years old. So it was not easy for the sentimental value to get rid of that sort of thing, but I had to do it to make space. And in the end, it was kind of nice to be able to let go of some material possessions. As you can see, I got way too many material possessions in here, and there was a lot of stuff that I needed to clean up, but this was the progress I had made by March 1st. Hey, speaking of sentimental things you don't want to give up, see this beautiful thing right here? This photograph was one that I shot in 2007. That is Sarah Hilker, one of the absolute best girlfriends I ever had in my entire life. And you know what she and I did together? We bought that queen-size bed that went right there in that blank space that you see. So on the 18th of March 2017, I took the queen-size bed to the landfill because that space right there, that was just way too much. I really needed to get a smaller bed so I could fit all of those dressers up there. As you can see, these dressers replaced the old wooden dresser that I had since my childhood. These are made out of metal, and they have fabric drawers, so they're much more lightweight, and I can store a lot more because they go vertically a lot more than the other dresser did. Right here on the left-hand side of the screen, that's where that other dresser had been. You can see the rest of the tiny house is still a complete mess, but we're making some progress. I got rid of that old stuff. I'm going to put more bookshelves in here, and I'm going to put a tall bookshelf right in here where the other tall dresser had been. So, not easy to give up a lot of those older things, but gosh, I still had so much work to do even on the 18th of March. By the 26th of March, I had been living in my tiny house for almost 2 months at Soledad Canyon. As you can see from this photo, a lot more progress has been made. I have that smaller mattress. I have all of those dressers that are in place up near the front. The television is where it needs to be. I have, well, a lot of junk on the right-hand side of the screen. Still need to sort through a bunch of that stuff. So a lot of things that, once again, don't really serve much of a purpose, but had a lot of sentimental value, were a lot of the things I was holding on to, and I just really needed to throw into the trash, like this stuff, for example. So here's my view out my window right now, and I just got to thinking about some of the things that I need to kind of downsize. And, you know, I tend to be very nostalgic, and I hold on to all kinds of stuff, such as this old issue of Outburn magazine that actually had an article in it about my first novel, you know. And it's like one of those things where this is the sort of thing that you want to keep, but at the same time, I kind of ask myself, why am I keeping this? Like, this is just kind of taking up more space, and do I really need to hold on to the Outburn magazine? Here's a program from the Big Bad Fetish Ball. Took place, I believe this one was, oh, there we go. This one was in 1999, and I did photography for the Fetish Fashion Show. I believe this one was at Euphoria, pretty much all of them. Took place at Euphoria in Cleveland. There's an ad for the Chamber, the Goth Industrial Club that I would go to all the time, and you know, there's my name among the photographers right in there. So, you know, once again, why am I keeping this? Like, what's the point of holding on to all this kind of stuff, right? Here's an issue 10 of Gothic Beauty magazine, and fashion magazine, and it has some photography in it that I took back when I first moved to Los Angeles of my friend Donna and her then boyfriend, now husband. So where the heck is it? I know it's in here somewhere. There it is. So there's Donna. We shot this photo outside of the Walt Disney Concert Hall in downtown Los Angeles. This one was shot just at her friend's place in her friend's living room. And we did this one here over at some ranch property that was up in the mountains somewhere. I don't even remember, but yeah, so, you know, I have this issue that has my photography published in it. Again, do I really need to hold on to this? You know, probably not. I mean, look at this, for God's sake. How silly is this? Look, I still have copies of Star Frontiers. I still have the original Vampire the Masquerade role-playing game. This is the book that really kind of inspired my first novel. I mean, why am I holding on to this stuff? You know, there was once a time when I had this silly idea that I was going to keep all of my old role-playing games and all this stuff, and someday I was going to have kids, and I would teach them how to play Dungeons & Dragons and Vampire and Star Frontier. Come on, give me a break. You know? I'm 46 years old. I mean, I'm not going to have kids. Who wants to have kids when they're 50? That would just suck. Now, it's not really fair of me to go through this whole process and show you all these horrible images of this Sanford & Son looking house without showing you what the final product looks like. So this is a little sneak peek. I am actually going to make another video which is going to give you a tour of the entire tiny house and kind of explain everything. But I just wanted you to see this very quickly. See, it actually does look nice now. Everything eventually found its place. Everything is organized, and like I said, this is just a little sneak peek of what I will show you in a future video. Well, that pretty much wraps up the whole process of moving into the tiny house. And I also want to add at the end of this video that I do plan on doing updates a little bit more frequently. I know my most recent video was done, I believe, on April 2nd. I believe today is May 27th of 2017. Therefore, it's been almost 2 months. But it took me quite a while after I sort of got settled to kind of get more settled to the point where I was actually able to come out here and shoot some more videos. As you can tell, I am once again physically at Luthorville. The previous video was shot at Soledad Canyon RV Park, which is also here in Southern California in Los Angeles County. And that was where I sort of did the whole process of organizing the tiny house. And now that I'm actually on the land, now that I'm actually at Luthorville, I'm a little bit more settled in so I can share a little bit more with you. So once again, thank you for watching. This is the first of 4 updates that I'm going to do right now, all really quickly in a row I'm going to shoot. So you will be seeing updates a lot more often. It's not going to be another 2-month span. Hopefully maybe once a week for at least the next couple of weeks. There will be updated videos. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And for those of you who have never seen another episode of Luthorville, here is the old intro that I started doing 3 years ago when I started this project. So you can see what Luthorville is all about.
Luthorville is an educational series inspiring kids and adults to become excited about innovations in science and technology by documenting the design and construction of a Mojave Desert homestead called Galatea Meridian. Witness the crazy story of how Eric Muss-Barnes, an unemployed computer geek and struggling novelist, risks homelessness by spending most of his life savings to build an off-grid dream house in the middle of nowhere. Having purchased vast acres of the Old West, can Eric find a stable job and create his home before his money runs out? Take a journey where fortitude and a pioneering spirit continue to forge the American dream on the romantic landscape of the American frontier.
All right, kids, that's it. See you in the next episode.